We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. We're talking transportation in the city, but not just Nashville, but also regionally. And whether you live here, and I know many of our viewers, those of you who live outside the area, we go all over the mid-state region, all the way up into Kentucky, in fact. But I mean, you come here for things, right? So Steve Bland is CEO of MTA and the Regional Transit Authority and Transportation Authority. Good to have you on.
Nice to be here.
And we've had shows on this before. You've been on before where we've talked about the future of transportation in this great town, and part of it again is busing, and then where we go from there. Yeah. Let's see what some of our viewers. We had a couple folks that waited through the break. We'll go to Joe. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Joe.
I've just got it's a two-part question, I guess.
Okay.
Yes. What is the senior discount to ride the bus, and do you have a senior discount to ride the train?
Sure.
Also, if you ride the train and you get to the end of the line at First and Broad, what options do you have for us get from that point to somewhere else downtown?
Sure.
Say out West End or down to the courthouse or wherever.
Great questions. First of all, senior citizen discount broadly, whether it be train or bus, is half the regular fare. So on the MTA bus system, seniors can pay 85 cents to ride. They just need an ID, and we can set folks up with that. Any proof of age will do. And great question about the connection. So I take the train in from Mount Juliet or Lebanon or Donaldson. I get to Riverfront Station. Now what? First of all, it links up to our Music City Circuit, which is the free downtown circulator. You can get off at Riverfront, board one of those buses.
How often do they come by? Do you know?
About every 15 minutes. And they meet all the trains. So essentially, they are timed. If a train comes in, people get off, the circuit will be there waiting for you. The other thing we do is the RTA does in conjunction with the MTA is what we call the Route 93, which links up the train times at Riverfront Station to the West End Vanderbilt area. Significant number of our Music City Star riders work in the Midtown area, so it's actually kind of cool to watch in the morning when the trains come in. You literally see hundreds of people coming off. Some of them are walking to their jobs, you know, in that lower Broadway area, but a lot of them are just pouring onto about a half dozen buses we have going to State Capitol Complex, West End, other parts of downtown.
That is crucial, and I envy every single one of them, thinking about them coming in like that. And yeah, so Riverfront Park, for me, getting off, and we're not far, you know where the station is by proximity to it. Now, are you allowed to bring bicycles onto the train?
Absolutely.
Think about it, if you brought your bike and parked it, or I've said that there was a point, remember when gas was getting up there toward $4 or $5 a gallon, I was number crunching. All right, now how much is it for the Music City Star? And I know. How much is it? You know what the thing is, anyone who thinks gas is going to stay low like this forever, you're kidding yourself. It's great now, it's going to go back up. But I mean, I was number crunching it, and I realized, okay, if it reached this threshold financially, it'd make sense for me to start taking the Music City Star. But then, how do I get from Riverfront to here, which is a few blocks? It's not a bad walk. I was going to buy one of those little electric scooters. Could I carry that little electric scooter on with me? They're small. I'd get off, hop on that little scooter, and I would have loved to have done that. It hasn't gotten to that point, but you said that there probably would be one of those shuttles right there too as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Would come down James Robertson from there maybe?
Well, and actually one of the Music City Circuit runs right up past the station next, so piece of cake for you. One of the key tenets of the Moving Music City action agenda is the mayor's recognition that, look, it's not going to be, you can't just rely on the bus or just rely on your car, just rely on a bicycle, that all the pieces have to fit together seamlessly. So a big part of the agenda in the short term is using technology to help tie these things together. Whether that's your smartphone or maybe it's digital wayfinding signage. We're putting more and more real-time information signs in many of our bus shelters that just don't tell you when the bus should be there, but if we're tied up a little bit, it'll be here in 4 minutes. Let you know where it is, and then tying all that together. If I come into Riverfront, what are my options? You know, can I catch the Music City Circuit? Is B-Cycle an option for me? Hopefully we work toward having car share in the city. So what are those options, and how easy is it for me to do, and what does it cost me?
So is there an app yet where you can monitor buses real time?
Yes.
There is. Is that the MTA app?
There are actually a number of them. What we do when we put in the real time system, it's open data, so we make that data available to anyone.
And so these apps are created, and so you could go, I don't know, there's probably several out there that...
Google Transit has it. There's an app called Transit that has it. The MTA does have an app you can get on our website.
So you
but
can
frankly, you can get on the website, exactly, and even set on some of them, they will set, you know, kind of go notification, so that if you say, yeah, this is the bus I want to catch, but it's not going to leave for 15 or 20 minutes, it'll actually notify you, hey, it's time to get up and walk to the stop.
Cool. It's good to know. That's amazing. That makes things so much easier. That's great. Let's go to Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hey.
Hey, what's on your mind, big guy?
The Music City Star, I think there were already tracks there, and they bought the train used from somebody and repainted it, so it was very economical. Now, I used to live in Murfreesboro. I told you when I first came to Tennessee, 2002, 2003.
Yep.
Worked at the Daily News Journal, got laid off, so then I had to start working for, the Thrifty Nickel in Nashville. And I wasn't able to because I needed my car, but I noticed back then, in 2003, getting from Murfreesboro to Nashville was about 20, 30 minutes. Now it's about 45 minutes. I look in the morning in the commutes, and the best ones are like, for me, going out to Fairview or going out, I'm just before you get to Fairview, I'm out in the country, Bonacqua area. And I'm only about 25 minutes, and I'm actually farther away miles-wise than Murfreesboro. So I think a lot of the people, your service industry people, that are working in all those Laverne warehouses for Ingram Books and a lot of the people, a lot of your factory workers are coming from Murfreesboro to work in Nashville. So I think they really need to concentrate on the I-24 corridor. And as long, I'm a member of Sierra Club, as long as they don't tear up nature too big, I think they should lay a track right down 24 from Murfreesboro to Nashville. I think that should be the priority.
Interesting. All right. He's right about that. That direction certainly has got a lot of people traveling.
It's interesting. You can study all the data that you want, but you get some of the best information just talking to folks who are actually living through it every day. And Brian's absolutely right. A couple interesting things. The I-24, the Murfreesboro to Nashville corridor, is tough, and it's growing because, frankly, both counties are growing so fast. Yeah. It becomes a bigger problem every day. Some of the encouraging things on that front is there's actually a partnership been formed. It's being led by the Tennessee Department of Transportation, all of the cities and counties along the way, as well as the RTA and MTA and a number of other partners, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, to take a hard look at what do we do long-term and short-term with I-24. Some of that will be what we call intelligent transportation systems. So what can we do with variable message boards to let people know what better commute times are? Last year's legislative session, the legislature passed authorization for us to do, and TDOT is currently looking at, bus on shoulder programs, which are successful in a number of other cities.
Now what is that? What would it mean?
Well, we're essentially where the shoulder is wide enough and the geometry works, a bus would be legally allowed to run up the shoulder when traffic is slow.
On an interstate?
On the interstate, on like I-24. And TDOT is currently doing feasibility to see how that works. Putting in more what we call purpose-built park and ride, so conveniently located park and ride service. We just opened one in collaboration with TDOT up in Clarksville about 6 months ago, and ridership on that service is up about 25% during that time, because people know they have a convenient, well-lit, safe place to park, makes it super convenient. Those are the types of things going on in the I-24 corridor. We would all love, we heard it from Rutherford County time and time again during InMotion, can't we have a train, can't we have a train? Those are tricky and long term, and frankly the situation there is so urgent because of how that congestion has been building and continues to build, that we also need to be looking at those shorter term alternatives to provide some options and relief.
Yeah, and I go out that way a lot because I do a lot of stories in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, and 24 is thick, 40 is thick going out. I'll tell you though, for me, the worst is 65, and maybe because there was some construction, but 65 is you get to Franklin and stuff. Yeah. To me, that's the worst, and I think sometimes heading south on 65, but 65 to me is bleh. That's the one. I know we can talk more about that when we take a break, but I think that's worse than 40 and 24. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more of your calls and see if he agrees with me on that or not. I don't know. And also talk about the fact that there's more and more clean buses, which I think everyone likes the idea of that. So we'll be back with more right after this.
This is a